Hello everyone. Today we are going to study about research methodology, the features of a good research study, and what are the designs which are used in a research methodology. So before starting, let us know what means research and research design. The first is research. A research has two words. One is the other one is search. Re indicates the repetitive and iterative process, where search denotes looking towards something very carefully to find something new and unique which the other researchers didn't find. It means a research has a wider scope, and in for a general topic there are a wider scope, like wider solutions, wider questions, and there are various ways to conduct research. So in a research, it is a scientific process where the discovery of new facts, ideas, and theories take place. A research aims at adding the existing stock of knowledge for the betterment of world. Now let us study what a research design means. A research design includes the methods and techniques which a researcher chooses to conduct his study on the topic which he has chosen. It helps to sharpen the method which is suitable for his subject, and it also helps in the success of his study. Now let's move towards the features of a good research study. So the first feature is clear research question. In every research, it is mandatory to have a certain hypothesis or questions which can be measured by using the strategies and the studies to know the question answer. It means when the question is clear, the hypotheses are formed, then the research will help the researcher to analyze the answer for those hypotheses and questions which he has found, or which becomes a main goal for him to find the answer by his researching techniques. The next one is appropriate research method. There are several methods in research methodology to conduct the research, in which some are services, experiments, case studies, and other methods. This helps the researcher to identify and collect the data, to analyze and give an appropriate answer which is valid for him and as well as for others, to know the research methodology which is used to conduct the research, as well as to analyze the hypothesis and answers for his question. The next one is sample selection. A researcher cannot conduct his study for overall population of a country. So he chooses a set of people on whom he can ask to participate in his research and give responses for the development of his study, collect data, analyze, and get the solution or the answer for these questions, and know what the correct hypothesis he can form by his studies. It helps to know the representative of population which are being studied, and the sample size, the research questions, and the methods he is going to use on those sample selected people. Now, moving towards the next one is data analysis. What is data analysis? Whatever the data collected by the researcher, it is a primary data by which he conducts his study using some statistical tests, qualitative analysis, and mixed methods, which help him to clearly analyze what his question is and what answer he is getting by researching on the topic and the data which he has been collected. It is a transparent way for announcing the result and declaring the report, as well as it is clear and it is effective. The next one is ethical consideration. A researcher should always know that whatever research he is doing, it should be ethical, which means it should have the consent, confidentiality, and projection of human subject. A research cannot be conducted on an unethical and illegal basis, such as the participant should always know for what purpose they are being used, their response is being recorded, and how the researcher is going to utilize it. It should be followed by the ethical guidelines and the procedure which is given by the Institute of IRB, which is Institutional Review Board, and other ethical committees. The next one is replicability. A replicability is simple, which means the procedure, method, and the instruments which the researcher has used to collect the data, it should be used by other researchers as a replica, which means a secondary data. It should act as a secondary data for the researcher, other researchers who are going to study and do a research on same topic. The next one is time and resources. A researcher cannot do his research for a lifetime or for a long time. So it is very important for a researcher to understand in with what time he is going to conclude his research, for what time he will do his research, he will analyze the data, and he will publish the report. And for this, he also needs to understand what resources he is going to use for data collection, analyzing, and reporting. He should always do a research which is feasible, realistic, and it should give the appropriate answer for the questions, and it should satisfy the hypothesis, whether it is a null hypothesis or an alternative hypothesis. It should be available in a given resources and time constraint. Now, let us understand some common research design, which includes the first one, experimental design. Experimental design means it involves manipulating of one or more variables which affect on the outcome. Participants are randomly assigned to different groups to compare the outcome. In general, when a researcher collects the information based on experimental design to analyze and after to declare the outcome which he gets, he can manipulate the variable based on the questions he has. In other simple ways, an experimental design means he can always change the outcome which he wants to be reported or published in his report. It doesn't depend on the data analysis, but it depends on what method he is using. And as it is an experimental design, on the basis of his data collected and the questions he has, he can just change the outcome which he wants to show to the public. The next one is quasi-experimental design. It is similar with the experimental design. Here also a researcher can change the outcome, but the only condition is here he cannot randomly assign the participants for his research study, but the participants should be they should be available for the research. They should give the consent to be a part of the research, and then he can change the outcome or he can change the variable to conclude a appropriate outcome. The next one is correlational design. It is very simple. It defines measuring a relationship between two variables without manipulating them. It means the researcher cannot manipulate the data and the result. Whatever outcomes he gets, he has to publish and report the same with the institutions. It is it helps in exploring the strength, and it is a direction of relationship between the variables. The next one is survey design. A survey design includes a large group of people in which a researcher can collect the information through questionnaires of open-ended and close-ended questions in a online form or an offline form, but other way is interviewing. The only method on offline is going to the people one-on-one and exploring and knowing what their response is, how they are treating the same subject, their views, their opinions, what are their attitudes, their behaviors and their beliefs in a certain population, in a sample size population. In this survey design, a researcher gets n number of responses and data which can be utilized for his research. The next one is case study. A case study is in-depth exploration of single case or small number of cases. This design used to explore the complex and unique phenomena which is present in the problem, which means the problem, the question he has defined, he has to answer it by analyzing the case studies or some of other cases which are relevant with one and each other. The next one is mixed method design. This design includes a combination of quantitative and qualitative data collection to analyze the research questions, and it can also help to provide a comprehensive understanding of a research topic. A quantitative data means it depends upon the number of people, the amount of population which has been included in the study. But a qualitative data means it is a deep analysis of the data collected in a research, which is a primary data or a secondary data, and analyzing it to get an appropriate answer for the questions and hypothesis which has been created. The next one is, okay, so this was the research methodology, research and research design and features, some of the designs which are used in the research. And now I would like to conclude it. So thank you so much for your valuable time.